start. Can't wait any longer. Any questions, comments or feedback before we move on? Ananya? Sure. No? Madam, any questions, comments, feedback? Sandeep? No, not at all. My friend? Neha? Jatsab? Jatsab? Any question, comment, feedback before I start?
Allow me a little time to set.
Okay. You, my friend?
Not very specific, sir, but one confusion or doubts are like
Go ahead.
a company should focus on what, sir? Like focusing smaller scale with a higher price or focusing larger scale with a lesser price? Like say a company
Yeah.
like Samsung and Apple. Samsung,
Yeah, please listen to the question. It will be relevant for all of you. So, go ahead with your question. He is talking Samsung as a company. Now, go ahead, explain
like
your
Samsung
question.
and Apple, sir. So
Sorry.
Samsung and Apple. Samsung focuses on mass,
Large volume.
large volume, sir.
Uh-huh.
But whereas Apple focuses on very specific people,
Yeah.
they Apple is very higher price, but Samsung is for all the lower from top to down.
Yeah, it has a wide range of products.
So
Yeah.
a company should focusing on which part? Its approach should be like Samsung or it should be approach like Apple.
Okay.
Key points are down.
So there are two questions, two things here. Your friend has given, I hope everybody is listening. अरे presentation बाद में कर लेना है यार, break मिलेगा. There will be a break, so don't worry. Please come in. So Samsung and Apple, our friend is asking question that Apple has limited variants of its phones targeting to a higher segment with higher price. Correct? Whereas Samsung has several variants and these variants ये वाला भी करिए दोनों they are targeting from low end of market or the low value customer to the high end, and therefore they have a high price item and they also have a low price item. In other words, Apple has only been trying to extend its brand by upward stretching, whereas Samsung has been trying to do both ways stretching, upward and downward stretching of brand extension. Correct? That's your question. Now he's saying which one of this is the right strategy. Anyone has answer for this to help him? Which one is right strategy? Samsung's strategy is right or Apple's strategy is right?
Both strategies are right.
Both strategies are right.
Because they are
Would you like to further explain?
Yeah. Samsung is covering the entire
Market.
segment and market
Yeah.
and different geographical locations.
Okay.
And they are also going for the geographical location but with a specific segment. So their target customer is higher and aspirational value is there.
Okay.
So if you are owning even price wise less price in Apple than more price in Samsung, your aspirational value is high
Okay.
because brand value is high. Now the number one brand is Apple.
Anyone else would like to give answer to our friend? Anybody else? Yeah. Somebody raise hand here. Sangeet wants to give answer. Which strategy is right? Samsung or Apple? Come on, please. Anyone? Okay, so here we have another view. According to Sangeet, Samsung strategy is right. My dear friend Sandeep, You are marketing scholar, research scholar. What do you think is right?
So actually, both of the company have their different targeted customer segment.
Okay?
So we can't directly say that the particular company's targeting or positioning is the right, because mainly Apple is focusing a particular segment which is middle class and upper middle class, where Samsung targeted the mass population for selling their product. It started with a few dollars going up to $1,000 above. And so on the basis of that we can say that both the strategies are okay as per their individual targeting and segmenting the segmented consumer.
Okay. Anyone else? Neha, you want to say something? I'll come to you. Sujit? Neha, you have anything to say? Sujit, go ahead.
So I think Apple's strategy for the brand actually it is better because they have to use lot less resources than Samsung because they are targeting a niche. And in case of Samsung, they have to cater a wide range of people. So they have to use lot of resources. So from this point of view, I think Samsung has done one wonderful thing is that they categorize Samsung Galaxy, which is a premium product. So they has already differentiated their within that Samsung brand. So I think Samsung that premium one is working very good, but low end that M series and A series that is not working very good. So in that point of view, I think Samsung is actually going to be a next Apple like scenario because the numbers are telling them to do that thing actually. So
Okay.
I think Apple's strategy is much better actually from
Okay.
the brand's point of view.
Very smart analysis. Anyone else wants to answer? Okay, now coming back to your point. We heard the views of our friends. In business, there are three types of competitive strategy. Okay, for any business in the world. One is called low cost strategy. Okay. Second is called differentiation strategy. Differentiation strategy. Okay. And the third, this is one, this is two, and the third is combination of both of these. Okay. Low plus differentiation. Or if you say high, that's already differentiated. Usually the low cost strategy converts the brand into commodity. So even if the brand exists, if the focus is on low cost, there is a possibility, not always, that you are converting the whole product category for the industry into commodity. The differentiation is what creates brands. Differentiation is what creates brands. Higher the differentiation, bigger the brand and its equity. And if you have a low cost plus differentiation, this becomes a brand for masses. So this is also brand, but this is brand for masses, whereas this is called premium brand. Premium brand. This is the way we differentiate the business strategy. Now, a strategic decision is always taken by the board of the organization based on the organizational values, ambitions, and the goals. There are some business owners, they will say, we just want to sell larger volume. To sell larger volume, your strategy should be low cost. Low cost strategy is not only giving the low price or high value for money to the customer, it is also means that internally, how Sujit was explaining, the resource management process, your vendor, sourcing, supplies, processes, they all are very, very efficient. So you have a low cost structure within the organization. That low cost structure enables you to create a product that is low priced at the same time for masses, right? Now, in this segment, the popular brands that we put for this number 3, which I just explained you, is Toyota and Honda. Toyota and Honda, they are giving differentiated product at a lower price. Their cost structure is very low. The working capital requirements are very low. They follow the just in time. So resource utilization perspective, resource utilization is very efficient. Then you have highly differentiated product, premium brand. If we talk about car segment itself, you are talking about, let's say, BMW, Mercedes, Rolls-Royce, and things like that. Their volume, number of cars sold is much lower as compared to these. By selling more cars, even at lower margin, the total revenue that they generate and the total profit that they generate is very healthy and very good, and that is why Toyota brand has higher brand equity than Mercedes. Understand? Whereas Mercedes is sold at a very high premium price. Very high premium price. So few people buy it, but the price is so high that you make money from that. So like Sujit was explaining, in this case, your resources and the revenue, resources is spent to generate revenue, that proportion is a big difference. And that difference that you are getting in the revenue is because of the brand's position in consumer's mind. Is that clear? The third strategy, the second strategy that, the first strategy that I left, the low cost and commoditization. The product becoming a commodity. But it's a low cost, the structure is low, sold at low cost. It may generate volume, may not generate volume, but it is meant for a lower segment. Correct? So not every car brand is like this, but there is a car brand in China that is called Chery. They call it Chery because CH they pronounce it Chery, but that's called Chery. Now, Chery brand of the car is a commoditized brand. Okay? The commoditized brand means it's anybody can have it. It's just a 4-wheel transport. We say, I have 4-wheeler.
Like Tata Nano.
Tata Nano is too low. Okay? Tata Nano is nowhere. But Chery is a proper car, like you have sedan, you have SUV, you have hatchback. So it's a proper brand for the automobile
segment.
But yes, they have product for different segments, but every product is low price. The lowest priced car, and this is not only in China, because of its pricing, it is selling in a big way in every less developed and underdeveloped country. So if you go to African countries, you will see Chery everywhere, but you will not see Nano. That's the difference. Nano is more expensive than Chery. And if we compare all Tata brands, like we can say that Tata has the whole profile, each of that brand is much more expensive than Chery. And in consumers' perception about performance, the functional part of it, Tata cars are much poorly performing as compared to Chery. So Tata also tried to enter those markets but failed, and Chery became very successful. So here again they are making a lot of money because they are selling commodity, but commodity is being sold in bulk. They don't care whether you have any image for my brand or not. They only care that you don't have money, you need a four-wheeler, here is a car. Understand? So this is something that we have to decide as board members. We decide, and from time to time we decide. Usually it's a long-term decision, but sometimes we have to look at our performance, like what Sujit was saying, that Samsung may have to look at S series and A series, and not, if it is not doing well, they may decide to drop that and just focus on the higher segment and leave those segments to somebody else, right? That's what you were saying. So this kind of decision the board takes. So based on what is my goal, what is my aim, what do I want as a company, as an owner, the set of owners, what do we want to achieve? We have to decide that. And that decision, Samsung, Korean brand has taken differently, Apple, American brand has taken differently. So both of them are right, based on their goals, based on the board's values and goals. So like for Toyota, Honda, BMW, Mercedes, branding is very important. Brand value is important. But for Chery, they don't have it, they don't worry about branding at all. They are just providing a four-wheeler where you can protect yourself, your car will not break down, basic functionalities. AC will work, everything will work. But it's a basic functionality, there is no prestige, there is no status with that, which is what comes with the car. Car is a product that has functional and psychological value, emotional value, which is prestige, status, etc. Right? So they don't care about it. But if somebody thinks that China only produces that, no. China is trying to compete at the differentiation level by bringing not the regular cars, the EV level cars, because EV is one segment which is the future of car. You accept it or you don't accept it. Even in this country, maximum 20 years down the line, you will not find gasoline cars. In US, already the government has issued a statement that after 2035, there will be not a single car on the road with gasoline. Gasoline means petrol diesel, right? So maybe we'll take 20 years from now, so maybe 45, but definitely this is going to vanish. So which is what China has understood. BMW and Mercedes are trying to come up with EV cars, but they are not successful yet. Audi came up with an EV car and it has failed massively in the market because people are unable to connect those perceptions. In China, what has happened, they have come up with a car brand, their first car brand, which is in this segment actually, number 3 segment, EV car. It is called BYD. Have you heard about BYD?
Tesla competitor.
Huh?
Tesla competitor. Build your dreams.
Correct. The full name is Build Your Dreams. The car brand name is Build Your Dreams. But they write in short, BYD. So BYD is a very good electric car, differentiated product at a low price. Understand? But then, do you know a company called Xiaomi? What is Xiaomi? Mobile company. It makes a smartphone. That's what you know. What do they have?
They mix cars, lifestyle products, everything.
Everything that has to do with electric and electronics Xiaomi makes. So Xiaomi's latest launch is the premium car. Very differentiated premium car. But only EV car. No gasoline, only EV car. Very clear, they are known for electric and electronic products. And the car is so beautiful. The most beautiful car on the earth today is created by them. It's much more expensive than Mercedes and BMW. Understand? So, Xiaomi as a phone, is it in these segments? Xiaomi is neither here nor on the top end of this. Xiaomi is focusing what our good friend Sudhir was saying. The Model S, Model A, that segment is what Xiaomi is focusing on mobile phone. Because that's where they are developing the volume business. That's how they build their reputation. And TV and all that. When it came to EV, they found that this market is crowded by BYD. Number 3 segment, number 3 strategy is crowded by BYD. And this segment has Chery as EV. The people who want car as a commodity, the EV also from Chery has come. But they knew Tesla in China is a big failure. Why it is a big failure? Not because there is any problem with the car. A negative propaganda using social media was spread. And remember one thing, in China, nothing can spread using any mode without the support of, so they are all sponsored by. Understand? And it was intentionally done to first tell America, we are permitting your brands, you build here, you sell here, we don't put big tariff, your car is okay. But then kill them by doing that negative propaganda. So a lot of fake artificial intelligence created videos were made, and it was shown how the car doesn't stop, how the car doesn't listen to instructions, how the steering stops working, how it slips on the road. In a hilly terrain, instead of going up, it goes down. You know, instead of going up, it starts sliding down, and none of these were correct. But a large population in that country is not very educated. And it goes by what the social media is talking about. So the Tesla was already killed. So Xiaomi saw the opportunity to create something which world has not seen yet. Same company now you see, different product categories, how they are using different strategies. Mobile phone they have not tried to compete with Samsung on the higher end or Apple. Because they know there is already strong position and it is no sense in wasting your time there, just focus on volume. Same about television, etc. But two segments they have got into premium. One is the car, which is the latest thing. I have personally sat in the car, so both interior and the exterior of the car, its driving experience, as a passenger sitting experience is unparalleled. With God's grace, I had opportunity to drive even Rolls Royce, sit in the Rolls Royce as well. But the experience that you get in Xiaomi car is unparalleled. Unparalleled. And the price is not like Rolls Royce. Price is just above BMW and Mercedes. Just above that. You get the point? Second market where they are using the premium pricing and premium branding strategy is robotics. So they are creating robots for various applications. And those, because in China the robo adoption is happening in a big way in day-to-day life. You remember I told you even the dolls, like the men getting a women doll and women getting a men doll, that's a robotics. All that is in the daily consumption part. The whole social structure in China is changing in a big way. The women don't want to marry. Men don't want to marry. They are happy to have a relationship when they want. The casual relationship is not taboo. Not at all taboo. Many good hotels, when you enter your hotel room, they have created you the protection products of all kinds, unimaginable category. It's there in your room. The WeChat has a paying system. Scan the code, hey, it will open, take whatever product you want. Why they have done this? Because of the way the society has changed. Understand? The casual interactions and casual relationships are accepted as a day-to-day practice because nobody wants to be in relationship because of the complexities associated with it. And if some people who are called orthodox somehow marry, they don't want to have children. So that's a completely different social structure or social damage, whatever you say. I'm working on a project which is sponsored by the federal government, which is People's Republic of China. Ministry of Science and Technology has funded this project on managing this issue of social issue, because that's a very serious issue for China. So given this kind of scenario that you see in Chinese market, they know that people have money and people are only looking for differentiation. So that's why Xiaomi found it's the right time to get into robotics market. Now, one more thing single people do, you will find, and that's very popular in China. The single people most of the single people, they normally will have a pet. The pet is cat or the dog. And they are single, nobody else is there to take care of those pet and dog. And they go to work. Everybody is working. Small work or big work, everybody is working and they are working long hours. So, to manage these pets, there are specific robots that Xiaomi is creating. Of course, not everybody can afford. Only higher-end people can afford. So the pricing is high. The quality is superb. And your pet feels that the pet is getting everything and pet is not alone. Because pets are also getting the psychiatric problem in China. Pets also get psychiatric problem. कुत्ता बिल्ली भी पागल हो जाता है. Depression हो जाता है कुत्ता बिल्ली को. हाँ, if he is alone all the 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours alone in the room, it will become pagal, crazy, right? So this robotics department that they develop, they are creating items, robotic items not only for men, but also for men's companions. Who are men's companions? Pets. And mostly Chinese love cats, which is prohibited in our culture. सुबह सुबह बिल्ली नहीं देखते हैं, बिल्ली रास्ता क्रॉस कर गई तो प्रॉब्लम होगा, right? Have you heard that? If the बिल्ली crosses, the cat crosses the road, we feel it's a bad omen, right? So that's example here. Xiaomi that started low end. Somebody was one day asking me the example of a lower end brand is touching high end and successful. So here is an example. Different product category, but the brand is same. See, the most important part is they are using umbrella branding. Not house of brand, it's a branded house. So car is also called Xiaomi. And those pet products, the pet caregiver is also Xiaomi products. They even have what we call Daima. What is Daima? Somebody who takes care of your child, which is robotic. So when mom and dad are busy and they want to have peaceful night, this Daima will do like this to the child in a very smooth way. You know, child needs when he get up, what do we do? Small child. Like that, right? So sing some song, and child is used to listening to mother's voice. Correct? So when you buy this lady or boy, whatever you buy, when you buy this, the voice is recorded and then it recognizes the voice and now it will speak in the mother's voice. So the child cannot make out that whether it's a mother or it's a machine that is trying to make me sleep. The child is very small. That's the time you need it, and that's the time mothers get into depression because they don't get enough sleep. Very important need, desire. They don't get enough sleep. The child gets up all the time and is crying, and then mother only does like this, and maybe sing some melody, right? And the child will sleep. That's what that machine is doing, and giving rest to the mother so that she does not get into what we call postpartum depression, right? Which is a very serious issue. In India, we don't even think about depression. We say, what is depression? In my years, there was no word called depression. Why are you talking depression? That is the way we just shrug it up. But the reality is that even Indian women, after giving birth to a child, they go through so many psychological and physiological processes that there is a postpartum depression. It happens. And somehow they manage to overcome without medication. But for many women it is not, and that's why you will find the husbands complain. Until you didn't have baby, you were so nice, now you have become क्या बोला? चिड़चिड़ी. Good word, चिड़चिड़ी. Right? So that irritates now. That is Rigada. Am I clear? Your question is answered satisfactorily? Okay, excellent. Anyone else has any other question? Go ahead, my friend.
In Samsung,
Yeah.
the European countries, they use a different version of the processor that they are using.
Yes.
They are using Exynos.
Yeah,
And in US and Canada, they are using Snapdragon.
yeah.
Any particular reason for that?
Yes, the reason is that in Europe, these bands which carry a frequency, there are different bands in different countries. Europe is a very big continent, and for whatever reasons, in the EU they were trying to have a common system, and in that process they wanted something that is compatible with their system. Even Apple has to make a lot of changes for targeting the EU sector. A lot of changes because they just don't want to accept. You want to do business in our country, in European Union, follow these recommendations. Cars, if you remember, they came up with certain pollution control norms, and everybody from India to US, everybody has to comply with that. So that's the reason.
In products we use CE for European markets.
Because that's the specific environmental norms which you have to fulfill, and you are telling, yes, we have done it. Okay? Answer? Anyone else has any other question? No? Okay. If no question, let's move forward. Very few slides, very few things that we will discuss today because we are almost at the end of the course. From my side, this is the last lecture. You have presentation, I will finish your assessment, and I will be ready with your certificates tomorrow. But before you get the certificates, you have to listen to Professor Datta and Professor Banerjee for 1 hour tomorrow. After that only you will be rewarded with your certificate, for which I will come back. Okay? So this is the last class, and after some time you will start. So first we will be talking about reinforcing the brands that I told you yesterday, that I will continue with that in today's session. I just introduced that, but the main session is now. And we will talk about the brand, managing the brand consistency, the issue of that. Some of that brand consistency issue we just discussed with Xiaomi, where the brand name is same, but in terms of the values that the brands are delivering in different product categories is not consistent. Then how does it work? How does it still work? Why do you feel cold to close the fan? Can you use the fan?
Yeah.
I'm feeling very hot. Something is wrong with me. You know which one was? And that one is. Thank you so much. It's just too hot. Okay. So the reinforcing the brands. The very first thing we have to talk about maintaining brand consistency. So, as I said, we started with Xiaomi and I told you in different product categories, the brand is trying to communicate different things. And in terms of the strategy, as I told you, they are covering different types of strategies. So here you don't see the consistency formula working very well. But in case of Apple that you talked about, there is a consistency. But in case of Samsung, how Sujit has highlighted, if you see that, the Galaxy models have a consistency. But the S and A models are not consistent with what Galaxy is delivering. So there is an inconsistency. The same company providing smartphones, but there is inconsistency. So this is one problem that you will find. And therefore, traditionally brand managers suggested that there should be consistency across the brands of a company and across the products where the same brand is used either with some sub-brands or umbrella brands. So there should be consistency in terms of what customer thinks about, what you are creating about the customer. Now remember one thing, the Xiaomi car that I talked about, I think if you do the YouTube videos, you may be able to see some of these Xiaomi cars. And you must do that to see how advanced car they have developed. Now if you look at that, there is a possibility that they are trying to create a new position for the Xiaomi brand. And once the Xiaomi car gets established, robotics gets established strongly in that segment, then maybe they will suddenly drop the current Xiaomi phones, which are so cheap, to a premium Xiaomi phone. This is possible, right? Only time will tell, because these are confidential strategic decisions that the board doesn't share with people. And if someone leaks the information, they are just fired. You know, it's a huge penalty. So this is why we don't know the reality, but there may be something happening. But let's look at consistency from a different angle. It is still important for certain product categories and certain brands. So for example, Dove. We go back to our example of Dove. Dove is known for what? Moisturizing skincare, right? So they came with the moisturizing soap, and the whole focus was that 2/3 or 3/4, I'm forgetting exactly, they mentioned is moisturizer in this soap. So they started with that, and now this is what has got positioned in consumers' mind. So everything that Dove brings, shampoo, face wash, conditioner, hand wash, all these should remain consistent on that performance. That is what we call managing brand consistency. That consistency has to be there. Suppose the hand lotion, after applying hand lotion, your hand becomes itchy, right? Then the brand's performance is not consistent with what it is to do. Then we will have a problem. So when we are talking about extending the brand, we have to be very careful. And traditional wisdom says consistency is important unless you are Xiaomi. Unless you are finding a market which is in nascent stage. See, the EV cars, especially in Asia, is in nascent stage. Now everybody, Honda, Toyota, Hyundai, everybody has an electric car. BMW, Mercedes, everyone has come up, Audi with electric car. But all this has happened in last 2 years. Right? Tesla has been for long. Better than Tesla is a car called Lucid. Have you heard Lucid? Lucid. Lucid is a brand of EV car which is 2 or 3 times more expensive than Tesla, and functionally outside China, because Xiaomi is not allowed to enter America. No Chinese brand is allowed to enter America. We don't get any Chinese brand of what we call consumer durable. So like cars, refrigerator, washing machine, any of these appliances, we don't get Chinese brands. The government has certain conflicts or whatever you say to protect their brands, so they do not allow these brands. So as of now, we don't have Xiaomi, but we do have Lucid, and Lucid is targeted to the ultra premium segment, ultra luxury segment. But still Lucid doesn't sell well. And you know who owns Lucid? Which country owns Lucid? Any guess? Germany? Anyone else? Anyone can guess which country owns Lucid brand? Which is ultra luxury brand of EV car?
European segment, Europe. Give us a clue, little.
Okay, it's not Europe. The clue is it's not Europe and it's not Africa. It's also not Antarctica. See, I gave you 3 eliminated. Is it possible India? Is it possible that Lucid is owned by India? Neha is so confident, she says no. China? Maybe. Okay. Okay, so let me again add the clue. It's not China. It's not India, it's not China. No?
Left is Japan.
No? Japan, no? Saudi Arabia! Saudi Arabia! Think about it. We thought a country that only has oil. Do you know Saudi Arabia? Have you been there? Which city? Makkah and Medina. But there are, the capital is Riyadh, right? So Jeddah, Riyadh, those are other cities. And Saudi Arabia, which we thought is only a religious place, like he started with Makkah and Medina, and it's a little orthodox country which is not going to have technology or create something better. They created Lucid, which is the most expensive outside China. Of course, in China the Xiaomi is leading the world. And as I said, Xiaomi has not yet got outside China. It's first establishing the brand there because even their model came only 2 years back. So, but that's the next round. So Lucid created by Saudi Arabia only, and you know, in Saudi Arabia not everybody buys the EV, because in Saudi Arabia not everybody is sheikh, not everybody owns the oil well, right? Only few people have money. A lot of people are also very poor in Saudi Arabia too. Okay?
Do they produce, sir? There?
What?
The production is there.
They don't have production there. They are very smart people. The car is produced in America.
Correct.
That's right. But I think 55 or 56% of the ownership is with Saudi Arabian company, and rest is by an American company.
They invested money.
Yes. So My dear friend, ownership is by the shares, by the money who has. So whatever happens, who gets the money? That is the ownership. You can have anywhere, right? Like Tata Taj hotels are in several countries. But who is the owner? Tata Group of companies, which is called IHCL, Indian Hotel Company Limited or Corporation Limited, something like that. That's the Tata Group. So same way, the Saudi Arabia is the owner, but it is it is made in United States. So it is highly reputed, and they are very smart. They knew that anyway the Arabian market right now is not ready for EV. It is American market that is ready for EV. Americans will not buy the car if it is made in Arab. So let's make it in America and make the money from there by selling it there. This is what I am saying. And all this is happening under the regime of current prince. The current, in Saudi Arabia what happens, whenever there is a king, that family has 44 possible kings. It's a family inherited. 44 family members are right now in the queue for becoming the king. These 44 members come together to decide the king. Now, as soon as the king is decided, immediately a crown prince is decided. Crown prince. Which means this crown prince, unless he does a big damage, will be the next king. Because anything can happen to king at any point of time. And your throne cannot remain empty. So crown prince will take over. Right now what is happening? The king is old, the crown prince is very young and very visionary, extremely visionary. So he is the man who has made a policy for Saudi Arabia which is called Saudi Arabia Vision 2030. Vision 2030. His vision is by 2030, the Saudi Arabia should be treated as the most advanced country in the world. And in that direction he is working on. For example, this is called branding. Vision 2030 is a brand he has created that is guiding from small startups to big companies to look into that direction. So, for example, they constructed one of the largest metro in the world in Riyadh. And this metro was constructed in less than 2 years' time. From scratch to full construction and operation in less than 2 years' time, world's largest metro. This is the world record. So this is just one example I am giving. In the same vision, the prince decided that Lucid will be made in America. That's the way to create and have your brands enough, to rule the world. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Like they are also working for the line. No, sir. They are working.
The housing, the new city you are talking about? I have seen it in the month of January from my naked eye. The way it is developing, that is supposed to be world's most unique city. The new city. It is near Riyadh. Fully automated city. It will be called a smart city. And this is all part of Vision 2030. Why is it being done? To reposition Saudi Arabia as a brand from what kind of brand? An orthodox brand to a modern brand. Now, all the previous branding of the nation was consistent with one philosophy. Saudi Arabia is a country where women were not allowed to drive the car. Are you aware of that? Today, you go to Jeddah, you go to Riyadh, and on the road, you will find more women drivers than the men drivers. More of them. So that's a completely different picture altogether now. So now, from that brand, which was construed as a negative brand identity for the country, they are the leadership. That's why I said board of directors, the leadership And the king has given full authority to crown prince. So actually the country is being run by crown prince and king has given him full freedom. So this crown prince is changing, creating a new brand identity for this. So when we talk about consistency, sometimes consistency is valid only for certain period of time. But we have to manage the brand over a period of time. So we may have to significantly and drastically modify that brand. You get my point? 5 years ago, when you go to Saudi Arabia, you get out of the airport. Before you get out of the airport, your host, it's a good system, except India, everywhere I have found, wherever I have gone, the host, key person from the host organization will receive you at the airport. And within airport, they arrange the VIP, what is called, VIP exit, red carpet welcome. So they pay money for that, and then somebody escorts you from the airport to immigration to our, and you are treated with very high respect. And as soon as you are out of immigration, you are welcomed by the key person from the host organization. So this kind of development, when 5 years ago, when a professor went, one of my friends, she's lady, she's from Columbia University, so she used to often go there. Now when you go there and if you are a woman, usually women were ready with the full clothing. Even Western world women will be ready with full clothing, not jeans and not those kind of things. They also have full gown kind of things. So they will be ready. And some women, like this Colombian professor, she used to buy abaya. You know the what we call here hijab. What do we call it? Burqa. So hijab is only covering the head. The burqa is that covers the whole thing. So burqa is called abaya. Iqbal, you know abaya. So abaya is a cloth that covers you. So they will buy in a Mecca before going to the airport. In the plane they will be normal. As soon as they get out of the plane, before getting, they go to washroom and they put the abaya. That was the condition. By chance somebody is coming first time and you don't know, or even if you know, your host will come with a women lady, with a women colleague who will have a new abaya for you. Okay? And as soon as you are out of immigration, the abaya will be given to you and you wear that abaya, cover yourself and you go. 5 years ago, Saudi Arabia. Today in same Saudi Arabia, same country, the brand consistency, see how it is being changed, national brand. You go to Riyadh, you go to Jeddah, you will find women with mini skirt. It's called mini skirt or what? The smallest one is called what? Mini or micro? Mini, right? There is also some micro skirt, I guess. So basically a very, much more advanced that you see in Hollywood films. So that kind of skirt and the tops which are like singlets, singlets जिसको हम लोग बनियान कहते हैं ना, जैसे आदमी लोग बनियान पहनते हैं वैसे women का एक बनियान होता है, that's like a full top but it's called singlet. Is the word correct, singlet? यहाँ क्या बोलते हैं? हाँ? Spaghetti, वो तो खाने की चीज़ होती है. ये इसको मत दिखा देना, खा लेगा निकाल करके spaghetti. So that product, imagine the transformation, and the society is accepting it. Earlier police will stop and harass you, nobody will stop and harass you anymore. And you can see them in restaurants, you can see them in mall, you can see them in the workplace. Whole situation has changed. Understand? So consistency, on one hand we said manage it, but on the other hand we have to remember that we also need to move with the time, otherwise we become like what? Such an aspirational brand, which even if now we do use it at home for hygiene purpose, when the boss is coming, you tell your family members, वो हटा देना बेसिन से, मेरा बॉस आ रहा है, या some important person coming, वहाँ लक्स रखते हैं. Have you heard this? It happens a lot. I have seen people talking like this, that remove Lifebuoy, because people will think that we are still using Lifebuoy. The truth is we are using, and put the Lux there. That is how the brand, aspirational brand, has become a brand that I am ashamed of. Aspiration is where I feel proud of. Ashamed of the same brand. So if you maintain that consistency, which is what they made, it has gone negative. Could I make it clear? But now look at Harvard, educational institution, medical schools. Harvard is known for any department, any degrees. They are now known for the best education in the world. Correct? Maybe as a business student you only know about business school. Harvard is not just business school. For them, maintaining that consistency is relevant today and will remain relevant always, because the association is different. Correct? If there they don't maintain that consistency, if a student and employers think that the MBAs which were produced in 80s by Harvard are no more the same quality as MBAs produced today, that's an inconsistency problem and you are in deep trouble. And you will be surprised it has happened. In 2024 batch of MBA, 23% of MBA graduate first time in the history of Harvard did not get the job until today. I mean, few months back the data was released. 23% of Harvard MBA did not get the job even after 1 year. What it means? That the employer started perceiving that Harvard MBA is no more worth the same. At the same time, NYU MBAs had 100% placement before completing their graduation ceremony. And remember, in none of these universities we don't have campus placement. We are in the business of providing education, not in the business of providing jobs. Right? Unlike here, we have placement center and everything is centered around placement in private schools. Our job is nothing to do with placement. We prepare you for the workforce, that the workforce should automatically take you. Pull strategy. Okay? In India it's a push strategy. So that's the difference. So consistency, if madam is laughing, kuch galat bol diya? Is it correct? So what I am saying, that consistency in certain sectors is still important. So for example, our medical school is #1 for neurology. Now we are known for neuro cases which are declared dead in many parts of the world. And when you are rich, through air ambulance or your private jet, you are taken to that hospital, you spend millions of dollars for the cure, and you survive. Now that's a value, that's an association that you have. If, imagine, that is broken, the whole school will collapse. And unfortunately our university ranking is highly dependent on our medical school. Our university ranking, like Harvard's ranking, is very highly dependent on the business school. Our ranking is highly dependent on the medical school. MIT's ranking is dependent on the technology school. You see the difference? So those consistencies cannot be broken. They are forever. But I also gave you, in certain situations, consistency is not necessarily good. Is the concept clear? So any book that you read or any professor who tells you blindly that consistency is important, please remember it's not. Okay, so this is important part we wanted to do. Second important part is protecting the sources of brand equity. What are the sources of brand equity? What are the sources of brand equity? Good job. You were saying something? Same, right? Now, these are the two sources, and within each of them you have further division, right? Protecting those sources. Let's say this generation or my generation is aware of a brand called Lifebuoy. Correct? But your generation, many of them may not, depending on where they come from, may not be aware of this brand. For example, kids in Mumbai, your generation kids in Mumbai, they don't know what is Lifebuoy. They have no idea about Lifebuoy. And remember, your next generation will definitely forget the word Lifebuoy. Right? So that means the awareness itself is going away. Image could not be protected. I already told you the Lifebuoy image could not be protected from being a high aspirational brand to something that you hide. Correct? So protecting sources of brand equity is also important for reinforcing your brand. The third thing that we worry about is fortifying versus leveraging. This is a dilemma that companies always face when they create a strong brand. Should we fortify this brand, or we have built the brand now, so we should leverage this brand by creating extensions, including the license. Don't be in hurry. First, the fortifying. Leveraging the brand is the next level. That should never be done in hurry. I build the brand. Have I really established properly? Xiaomi car is not in hurry to go beyond China. They will go for sure, but not right now. They are waiting, they are working on somehow getting into Europe. Because once they get into Europe, which is known for the automobile technology, then they will automatically reinforce the brand. It will be fortified. Understand? Strengthening that brand, fortifying that brand. So that is their first step. Once they get the EU permission, then those cars will be seen in Europe. Then people see if Europeans are driving, there is something great about it. Then it will become a lot more easier to leverage that to extend to other countries. Even if the United States does not allow it. So that's why right now they are not focusing on North America. North America consists of 3 countries: Canada, US and Mexico. So they are not focusing on those. They are only focusing on Europe. Once the Europe market accepts it and they fortify there, their next target is Latin America, South America, other than Mexico. So they will try that part because that's a huge market. And the purchasing power is coming up in that market. That market was financially backward with a lot of, you know how we had earlier conditions of safety, security, those kind of issues in Asia. Those issues they are facing right now, but things are changing in big way. For example, Colombia, the Bogota was a place of drug mafias, and nobody will dare to go there. And after 5 o'clock, nobody gets out of the home, even local people, because of the fear from the drug mafias. Anywhere the gunshots may start and you may be killed. But that Colombia has completely changed. And now there is a huge tourism to Colombia. Everything is changing in that because a very president with a very strong determination came to power and eliminated the willpower. So fortifying, now you understand that this is a dilemma you always face But your step should be wisely first fortifying like Xiaomi and then leveraging the brand that you have built by sending to other market or extending to other categories. The last point is fine-tuning the supporting marketing program. Brand is always built by marketing program. Product, Xiaomi product, its pricing, high price to create that ultra luxury image, distribution only through exclusive showrooms and using a different process, that is mobile, through mobile, and promotion, communication. They don't use any social media influencer on TikTok, which is called, TikTok is called, oh my God, why I forget, Douyin. TikTok is called Douyin in China. Same brand name, same logo, everything same, but it's called Douyin in China. So most brands have influencers on Douyin, but Xiaomi car is not for those young people who spend their time on TikTok. Correct? It is for those people who have that kind of wealth. Does not come from the air. They work hard. They have businesses. They are working hard from morning to evening. They have no time to look at their phone unless it is an important call. Right? So for positioning on them, those social media influencers are not going to work. Understand? It's completely different way for positioning them. So this is what we say, fine-tuning, and this fine-tuning is required for a period of time. You don't continue with the same. Any questions here? All clear? Okay. Now about revitalizing the brand, there are, as I said, this is reinforcing the brand. There are two strategies for managing brands for a period of time. Reinforcing, and the second is revitalizing. Okay? So reinforcing is when your brand is doing well, you are reinforcing. And you had those four strategies that I told you. The second situation is the brand is declining. The Lifebuoy, what it needs is revitalization. Infosys from a differentiated brand has now become a commodity brand in consumers' mind in Europe and United States for information technology. Now nobody sees the difference between Infosys and TCS or Wipro. Nobody sees that difference because they also jump into the price war. You know, the biggest crime done by IT industry is price war. When we bid for a project in US or Europe, we ourselves are fighting on the price. And our people go and say, okay, how much TCS has quoted? This much. Infosys says, we will match the price. We will give you lesser than that. When you are known for high quality service, why do you reduce your price? It's a human tendency. We always ask for a reduced price. If somebody doesn't give a price, not everybody will walk out. Only few people will walk out. Even the other day when I and Sandeep went to Sona Jowri market, there were places where I was willing to walk out, but Sandeep was okay to give certain money and move on. Like that one place, jewelry fellow, 200, right? You remember? I walked out. So, but not everybody walks out. He would have purchased it. So that's what Infosys has to do. Don't walk out. Stick to your point. People realize that you have a value and there will be customers who will appreciate that. So what Infosys now needs, because you have taken a brand I'm talking about, Infosys needs revitalization in those markets. Right? So when something is declined, we do revitalization. Now for revitalization, there are two strategic options. Two main strategic options. One option is here, expand the the depth of brand, depth or breadth of the brand awareness, or both. Either depth or breadth or both of awareness. What is the meaning of depth? Depth means in the same target audience, more and more people go deeper, more and more people become aware of your brand. They are able to recognize, they are able to recall. What is breadth? The breadth is extending from one target audience market to another target market. So one target audience is already aware of it, but your product or service is applicable for another segment. So let's try to build awareness in that segment. So that is breadth. Depth is the same target audience, more and more, making more and more people aware and more knowledgeable about your brand. And the breadth is across. So this is one strategy. The second strategy is improve the strength, improve strength, favorability and uniqueness of the brand association. This is the image part. Image consists of three things. Mainly one thing, that is association. But the association that you have created, that should be strong, favorable and unique. So uniqueness is important. That uniqueness should be what you are looking for, favorable, right? And it should have a very strong association in your mind. Like I told you, Lifebuoy has extremely strong association with hygiene, right? Unique, strong, and when it comes to the hygiene part, that's very favorable, right? And it's very unique. So these are, so I work on this and improve these aspects of association, not changing the association, just improving these aspects, because I was a successful brand, Lifebuoy was a successful brand, Infosys was a successful brand. Why Infosys was a successful brand? Why that brand was respected in American and European market? And when you do that analysis, you will find there were certain associations, and one of the associations was that they always quote the reasonable price and do not bargain. You may think it's a negative. Actually, for a good organization, this is a very positive image. Because I tell you, human tendency. I went and asked him, how much will you give this for? He says 10 rupees. Can you reduce it? Okay, sir, take it for 8 rupees. Now, psychologically, I am thinking, is there a possibility to get more reduction? So I go to Sangeet and ask Sangeet, how much will you give it for? Now I already know that it can go up to 8 rupees. So Sangeet says 9 rupees. So now Sangeet is, I know that. Sangeet is starting with 9 rupees. So he looks little more realistic as compared to him. So I know he said. Now I will tell that, can you give it to me for 7 rupees? Sangeet may say no. And then I will walk out and then, okay, come, take it for 7 rupees. Now I am in big trouble. Because my mind said, did I bargain correctly? What if I had said 5 rupees, maybe he would have given it for 5 rupees. Understand? This confusion in consumer's mind you have created and you have diluted your value. So Infosys had that very strong association, reasonable price, fixed price, whether I buy or anybody else buy, I will not be cheated. Understand? People who bargain, who discount, they are giving an indication that if you didn't bargain with me, I would have cheated and taken more money from you. So I need to improve on that. Is that clear? Okay. Now I am trying to explain you the same thing with the help of these flow charts or the diagrams. So When we are talking about brand reinforcement strategy, this is very easy to follow. That's why I put it in the diagram form. Brand reinforcement strategy. What we do is reinforcing the awareness and reinforcing the image. Correct? Very simple logical process we are following. When we talk about awareness, again those different dimensions is what we are managing, and in terms of image, same thing, those dimensions of favorability, uniqueness, correct? Those strength, those are the dimensions we are trying to understand and trying to improve. When we do this, two things happen. You see here, this results into this as well as this. Both of them affect both dimensions. Similarly, this awareness, increased awareness results into this, and it also results into this. What are these things? You see here, this is improvement in product design, manufacturing, and merchandising, which is displaying. Okay? So these may be the decisions or actions which may happen for this purpose or this purpose. The second one, if you see here, this is about relevance in user and uses imagery. In consumer's mind for the particular user means application, whatever imagery is there, I am trying to reinforce that imagery. So likewise, in user's mind, watch for hygiene to use after certain kind of activities which are prone to creating bacteria. Like in good old days, if you remember, the doctors in the hospital, after treating the patient, every patient, or before performing the surgery and after performing the surgery, they used to wash their hands with the lifebuoy. Early, now it's Dettol. Okay? So they used to do that because that is how that image was there. So these activities may enhance this. This is how the mechanism happens. When this happens, this will result into three things. One is consistency in amount and nature of marketing support. You can't do this without the nature and amount of marketing support that you are providing in a consistent manner. This year you give so much money for this brand and next year there is no money. So if you don't remind customers, customer memory is short-lived, they will forget about it. The second thing required is continuity in brand meaning. Whatever brand meaning you have created, if it is relevant, continue that brand meaning. This requires changes, this may require changes in marketing tactics, not strategy. Tactics means actual action. The third thing is protecting sources of brand equity. And the fourth action required is what we call trading of marketing activities to fortify versus leveraging brand equities. There is a trade-off here. If you are fortifying, you are sacrificing the leveraging. If you are leveraging, you are sacrificing the fortifying. So after certain time, there is a trade-off that you have to make. So this has to be seen as the framework that provides you the guidance for various actions for reinforcing your brand. Any questions? Anyone?
So
Say, yeah, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, go
previous
ahead.
slide you mentioned, improve it, not change it. While repositioning, is it always good to improve, or sometimes we've seen that it's also
Complete change as well. So that's why in the word improvement, when we say that includes for the improvement the possibility of changing it completely. So what is happening in Saudi Arabia to improve the image, the changes, correct? So that's possible. Answered your question? Anyone else? Okay. Same way now we have brand revitalization strategy. If you look at brand revitalization strategy, exactly in the same way, there are two steps. One is refresh. Now revitalization is what you are doing. Brand was great, it's no more great. So what you are doing is refresh old sources of brand. There must have been some reason why that brand was so strong. Now you see that meaning in consumer's mind. How has that meaning changed in consumer's mind? For example, Lifebuoy can say that we do not use carbolic acid anymore because there are better ingredients available for creating hygiene, right? So it is still a hygiene soap for the same application because people still do sporting, people still travel in local trains or the buses, people still do the hard work. So all those applications are same. But people are against the carbolic acid, right? So they can say that it's no more from the carbolic acid, but there are better, more natural chemicals or ingredients available, and that's what the new Lifebuoy is about. Correct? Something that is dead can be revived in a completely different way. So this is one part, refresh old sources of brand equity. Second is create new sources of brand. So in the Lifebuoy I told you the both things. Disassociating with carbolic acid, associating it with more natural newer ingredients. Both things are happening simultaneously. Correct? And sources of brand equity is still awareness, so making people aware and making people creating image in this younger generation of a Lifebuoy soap which is excellent for certain applications. Now when you do this same way, you have two routes. It can come like this, it can go like this, same way it can go like this, and it can come like this. So you see, when you do that, it applies for both of them. What do we have here? This is where we can talk about expanding the depth and breadth of awareness and uses of the brand. In the previous one, we just talked about awareness. Now we are talking about uses. So uses means the hygienic conditions are not in those times when Lifebuoy was being positioned. That time the unhygienic conditions were different from the unhygienic conditions now. Understand? So it was used for certain purpose on certain occasions. Now we can talk about other occasions, other uses for the same product in a different way. Sometimes we may have to actually drop the product from one category to another category. Many of you might have seen the maid who comes to wash your utensils at home. They earlier used to use Vim bar or Vim washing powder, VIM. That was market leader in India, VIM. And they started using Nirma washing powder. Why? Because Nirma had a better ability to cut the grease. In Indian cooking, what is the problem? Most of the food we fry. We are not eater of steamed food or raw food. We fry food, right? Even something is deep fried or shallow fried or just tarka, dal tarka. The moment you fry, your utensil has got the layer of grease. That grease, people realize, especially maids, they don't want to, spend too much of their energy. Vim bar required more energy, whereas the Nirma washing powder, because of high caustic soda, it requires very less effort to remove the grease. And then you can, the Madam Ananya will not shout or yell at the maid saying that आज तुमने कितना गंदा काम किया, ये देखो इसमें चिकनाई लगी हुई है, right? So now Nirma washing powder, and people are wearing more expensive clothing, more delicate clothing, and therefore they don't want to spoil it by using Nirma washing powder. Their thinking is that that can spoil their clothing. They are even using better quality bed sheets, better designs of bed sheets. The whole lifestyle has changed. So they don't want to wash them with Nirma washing powder. They might have moved to Rin or Surf or something like, or Tide for example, or Procter & Gamble. So if the market is declining for them, there is a possibility that they can actually move their product from using to wash the clothes to washing utensils. Different image they can create. Part of imagery, it is still associated that it has ability to remove the grease. Earlier it was removing the grease of your collar and your bed sheet and pillow cover. Now it is removing the grease of your utensils. Point is that if Nirma loses that market, the revitalization may require doing something like that. Look at here, improving strength, favorability, that's the image part, and uniqueness of the brand association. Because here, now, my friend, this is where you need the change. In reinforcement, you are only improving. But in revitalization, this improvement may require changing. Understand? Then, this will result into this part, the awareness part will result into these two, and image part will result into these three. So what is this? You are talking about how do you do this? You are talking about increase, correct, how much people are consuming, how do you increase that consumption? You remember the Colgate toothpaste, this is like another true story which was released by Times of India. We didn't know just like that. The Colgate toothpaste originally, the outlet of toothpaste, that was smaller. So when people were applying on their breasts, a small amount of toothpaste was coming. So to increase the sale, consumption of that toothpaste, what they did was, they increased the size of outlet. So now if you apply, the more amount of toothpaste is coming, so you have to buy more frequently, so you will not forget about the brand. It keeps coming to your mind again and again. So this is one. The second one that you have here is increase. What do you increase here? Frequency. So if you remember when Pepsodent came in the beginning, Colgate was always saying, brush your teeth twice. Right? Doctors recommend, they will say, doctors recommend to brush your teeth twice. That was a frequency increase. Indians were habitual to brushing teeth only once, through that neem or babool or whatever it is. Now they are saying brush your teeth twice. Pepsodent came to counter this, and it brought children, and those children were eating the lollipop, chocolate, and different ads that they created. And Buddhi ke baad, you know what is Buddhi ke baad? Cotton candy. Cotton candy, Buddhi ke baad. That's how it's called, because it's white like that, you know. So cotton candy, they will show an ad and kids are eating, and then with the mother, and then another lady comes and says, hey, why are you spoiling your children's teeth? And then she will say, no, my child uses Pepsodent. 24 hours, it is shown 24 hours. That means for 24 hours, once you use Pepsodent, it keeps fighting with the germs and bacteria in your teeth. So they came positioned against Colgate by bringing this. Once they established the brand, they changed this. This is what I am saying, to revitalize. Once they established the brand, to reinforce, they improved this, and they said, the doctor suggests that you should brush your teeth after every meal. After every meal. How many of you do that? Perhaps nobody. In South Korea, in the school itself, children are taught that you must brush your teeth after every meal. So even when you are a primary school child, like you have a lunch break, soon after lunch break there is a brushing break. So every kid comes with the toothpaste and the toothbrush and goes to the washroom and brushes the teeth and then comes back. Teachers do with them. So South Koreans, 99% of them always have the brush and toothpaste in their office, in their car and at home. So why? Because suppose they are traveling in the restaurant, first they will eat food, then brush the teeth, then they will move forward. At work, they will finish the lunch, go to the washroom, brush their teeth. So this was not for increasing the consumption, but the toothpaste companies have tried to use these to increase the consumption, right? And there are many other ways by telling that in more occasions you do that, things like that. Now, for this part, image part, you are talking about bolstering aiding associations. The associations that you have, somehow they are being failed. Is Tata still considered to be ethical, integrity and trustworthy brand? If that association starts fading, you have to revitalize. The problem Bajaj has been facing, if you know, that Mahindra and Mahindra managed to revitalize the brand. The association with ruggedness, long-lasting, resale value, Mahindra managed by making the modifications. It revitalized the brand when its sales were declining. Hindustan Motors could never revitalize its brand. Hindustan Motors had a very strong brand image. एक जमाने में बोलते थे टाटा ट्रक और हिंदुस्तान मोटर्स का एक्सीडेंट होगा तो टाटा ट्रक will be completely destroyed and Ambassador will not have a single dent. These are the kind of advertisements that were being created at that time. Of course, we know that this is all fake, right? Like I told you that there was an accident and everybody, my relatives in that Ambassador car died, right? So, but the advertisements were created initially to create that strong, favorable, unique association of being the strongest car, because at that time their competitor was with a car that had a feminine personality, looking very fragile, that was Premier Padmini, which was earlier the Fiat, but during the Bal Thackeray time, he created so much of unionization in Maharashtra that the industry in Maharashtra was killed. It was known for, Kolkata had a big automobile company and Bombay and Pune had another automobile industry, and that Premium Padmini was in Mumbai, and that was, I think, western part of Mumbai, and that was destroyed because of the Bal Thackeray called the strike of labor, which was for several years. And the Fiat, as you know, is an Italian company, so it decided that we cannot bear with this nonsense, we are withdrawing Indian market. So when they withdraw, it was purchased by an Indian fellow who called it Premier Padmini. Okay, and that Premier Padmini, if you remember, that is a much smaller and fragile looking car, right? So that was the competition between the two cars. So both had unique position. One was treated as a city car. So Premier Padmini was city car. Women will normally be driving it. It has a feminine personality. And Ambassador was a macho personality. It was a strong car, right? Those were unique positions created. And I said, Mahindra and Mahindra also existed, but it existed for adventurous, rugged, those kind of work. So army used to buy that, police used to get it, right? District magistrate will get ambassador, but those days superintendent of police, SP, will get a jeep, because chasing the criminals, thieves, robbers in the rural fields and poor roads, district magistrate doesn't have to do it, but SP and his team has to do it. So that's why that association was strong, and that was given to them. And then later on, as I told you, when other cars came, the Mahindra and Mahindra started declining. Especially the biggest problem was from Toyota Innova. Toyota started a factory with Kirloskar in, what is that place where we have Kirloskar in South? There is also Kirloskar Institute of Management Studies, madam. Kirloskar Institute of Management Studies, it's in a remote part of Karnataka. Do you know what is that place? Okay, so there is basically it's a Kirloskar group, Maharashtrian. Kirloskar is in Pune. Originally they used to make engines. So there was a collaboration with Toyota in the beginning, and they created the first factory in Bangalore, that location. This was, and to train people, they started Kirloskar Institute of Management Studies. That was to train their internal people, because for Toyota, training is very important. They train their vendors, they train their suppliers, they train their dealers, they train their employees on a regular basis. So they had their own institution for doing that. So that is where the Mahindra successfully did it, and Ambassador never did it. Premier Padmini could not do it. So you see how the brands vanished and how some brands came, because they could not bolster the image. The second is, we talk about neutralizing the negative association. Whatever negative associations have got created, how do we neutralize? I gave you example of carbolic acid neutralization. The third is, we are talking about creating new associations. And this is what I am saying, for your generation, Lifebuoy can create new associations. If they hire me as consultant, I can really help them bring this brand back to the world in a big bag, and Gen G and Gen Alpha will accept it like anything. There's a huge potential to do it. It's just that their agencies are not thinking that way, and somehow they have accepted it as a dead brand. And that will ultimately result into this. The awareness part will result into improving the identification, identifying additional opportunities for using the brand in the same basic way. Whatever they have been doing, like toothpaste, just partnering the teeth, and then identifying completely new and different ways to use the brand. So for example, I don't know how many of you know, Colgate is very good for brushing the tooth. But also if you get the burn, sometimes you get the burn while cooking, right? What do you use? Bernol. Most people use Bernol. But Colgate is more effective than Bernol. Right? So this is, of course they have not done that, and maybe it's wrong to do it, but I'm just giving a hypothetical example that maybe they can think about doing that. Okay? Though it's a wrong association, I'm not suggesting, I'm just hypothetically saying. So one has to find this, and these will result into what we call retaining vulnerable customers. Vulnerable customers are the customers who are not sure what they are going to buy. Then we are talking about recapturing the lost customers. We had customers, they are lost, getting them back. Your forefathers used it. How do we get you back to the same thing? The third is identify, what is that? Neglected segments. Sometimes what happens, it may be useful and important for certain segments, but we completely neglect it. Why don't we get into that segment? And then last one is attract new customers. Attract new customers, that means going for new segments. So this is the whole map for brand revitalization strategy. Any question on this? Anyone? Okay, so that's it. Now, brand report card. There are 2 slides on brand report card, and that ends our class. This is a brand report card developed by Kevin Len Keller. So what you have here, these are the attributes in a brand report. Like your progress card is made for brand in a dynamic manner. You prepare a report card based on which through IT help these days there is a brand dashboard that is created. And on a regular basis based on the data you can know how you are doing in terms of these attributes in the report. So there are 9 attributes that you will see here about the brand. For each of these attributes you have to give a score. This score is in a scale of, let us say, 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 based on the survey of customers, dealers, distributors, employees, sales team. So you survey internal and external parties to get their score for each of these parameters, what they think about. The second column is then rating these elements in terms of the importance at a particular point of time, what is most important for your brand. So that importance is from 1 to 9. You can see here it's written at the bottom. The importance is to be rated from 1 to 9. And 1 indicates, for each of them, 1 indicates poor performance, and I think 9 indicates the higher performance. Column 2 is a rating, it's the same way, where 1 is the highest importance, priority 1, and 9 is the lowest importance, priority 9. And when you have these two, you multiply, and that is the score that you will get here. When you multiply, remember here, if you are doing very well, you have a high score. And if it is also very important, you have a high score. No, low score. 1, correct? So 9 into 1 is 9. But if it was not important, you will have 9 here. And you are already doing well. So 9 into 9, 81. So the lower the score here, that is the top priority for you to focus for brand building. That is what the brand report card does. Higher the score, like 81, is not important for you in terms of priority. And this prioritization that you do, this is done in a dynamic manner, and any priority that we establish is usually for a quarter. Some companies do it for the year, but to remain in the today's competitive market, it's important to do it with more frequency, that is what. Is this clear? So this is the format that Kevin Len Keller has developed, very useful, and most companies, as I said, with the help of information technology, create a dashboard, keep getting the data on a regular basis, and from that basis, the dashboard keeps telling them what is the priority. So if they don't know the science, they will only look at the dashboard and tell this is the priority one. But the logic behind that for programming, this is the logic that goes in. Okay? That's it. This is the summary of what we have done in this whole course. Okay? You see here what it says. It is building customer-based brand equity. You remember we started with that the job of brand manager is to build the brand equity, and Keller in today's time is talking about customer-based brand equity, which is what is accepted widely. We started for that, and all these we have discussed in different systems to ultimately create a positive brand equity and increase brand equity. So this is one slide, all that I have talked to you over last 9 days is summarized on one slide. Okay? whenever you want to refresh what you learned in this program, just go to this slide and you will know how much and what you have learned. Okay? And then for more details, based on that you can go to the slides that you have and you will get. Understand? So this is the final slide, last slide, and as I said, it's a summary slide that will be completed the course, and now the time for you to present. Yes, sir.
What about your formula, sir,
Which formula?
to calculate brand valuation?
Oh, brand equity, not my formula, Interbrand's formula.
No, you said that you have particular formula.
I said I have access to the Interbrand's formula, the secret formula, to bring that. My apologies, I forgot to bring it. Now that you have reminded, tomorrow for sure I'll bring the formula, and before giving you the distributions of certificate, one slide.